Okay, everyone, we are rounding third and heading for home in our CRO module. In this last section, we'll be covering mobile app monetization options and strategies. James is going to be exploring proven strategies and options to generate revenue and maximize the profitability of your mobile app. James, I'm sad that this is the last module with you, but I'm just as excited for what's in store for the rest of this module.
Cool.
So let's get started.
Yeah, let's jump right in. All right, so just, quick introduction to monetization. I'm sure most of you, if you're involved in the app development world, you're thinking about how you're going to make money. But there's a lot of different options. A lot of people think about virtual good purchases, subscriptions, but we're going to cover like a few other kind of maybe non-standard ways you can monetize as well. There's freemium models, there's hybrid models. I mean, basically the sky's the limit. I've worked for apps that were freemium in the sense that, it's interesting how you can get the freemium model working with all kinds of different things. We actually had a VPN that was ad supported. If you want to get rid of the ads, you had to subscribe to it. But we monetized very successfully with both a desktop app and a mobile app. And we became the most popular VPN in the world because of that free option. But we made just about as much money with the advertising, with the subscriptions of, you only need 1 or 2% of subscriptions to kind of equal your advertising for your other 99. But together, the two, made us a very successful company, having those different options. So depending upon who your user group, you might have different ways of monetizing them, different ways they can experience your app based on how you're monetizing. But try to think beyond, a very simplistic approach to like an either or approach. There's lots of different ways you can create hybrid solutions there. And we'll talk a little bit about how we can, get people through these purchase experiences, monetization experiences. The first one, again, this is very, unique to an app. That's why it's called an in-app purchase. But a lot of people leverage this idea of a premium feature set. So you want people to try out your app. So you want to get as many people trying out your apps in kind of a limited use functionality. So they have a good experience. They get a teaser on, the enhanced functionalities. Maybe you give them access to it for a week or 2 weeks with a free trial, or maybe it's just a subset you give them access to, and they don't get a chance to see the full set until they subscribe to that premium, or they purchase that free premium, or maybe they earn that premium. So there's different ways to do it, but the idea is you kind of have a two-tiered system where you're monetizing with like a freemium and then a premium. So virtual items and virtual goods are an increasingly effective way, and obviously most mobile games are doing it through people buying virtual goods. They have a basic gaming experience. I guess this is desktop games and console games now too. You have a basic gaming experience or basic app experience without these additional things. And then if you want to, dress your character up or get additional weapons or tools, or just speed things along, help you get through, a timed trial by giving you more time. There's all kinds of different ways you can sell people things. So that's done, kind of through in-app purchases of virtual items. And then this idea of kind of premium content where you're giving access to higher levels or just, better content. Obviously the news apps are all doing this. Maybe you get to view, one article a day without premium, or you get to view news articles, but you don't have access to recipes or opinion pieces or the higher value content, the more proprietary content. So there's lots of different ways to do this, where you kind of create a two-tiered model to give people a reasonably good experience. So you keep them using the app, keep them as an active user with the freemium stuff, and then try different ways over time to get them bringing revenue into through some kind of premium purchase. All right. So advertising is tried and true, mechanism. It was there from the very beginning of the web. Almost as soon as a web page went up, someone put a banner on it to monetize it. So that's a tried and true way. The one thing about advertising is you need a pretty large audience to monetize in any meaningful way. So if you've got a niche product, unless you have a super, super valuable niche audience that some advertisers are going to want to reach, it's hard to do this. It's a way, if you have a freemium model and you're also monetizing through subscriptions, it's a way to kind of get some revenue from the freemium users. And again, you have to do it in a way that you're not alienating them. But there's banner ads, there's interstitial ads that kind of show up, in between content. You can roll video ads into it. Native ads are more kind of sponsorships. You get, the car makers or Coca-Cola or whomever to sponsor maybe it's a feature in your app, or maybe it's your entire app. And you can combine a lot of these different things into an advertising model. But it's a great way to kind of go for like a larger mass audience, offer your app for free in exchange for them viewing these ads. And a lot of different platforms out there that you can integrate with. There's a lot of mobile specific ad companies, as well as, of course, Google and Facebook and other places to throw ads into your app. So subscription is kind of a great way to ensure a more steady stream of income. You're not subject to the variability of advertising. The advertising has a lot of seasonality, and whether or not people are clicking on your ads is going to impact your revenue. But with a subscription model, you can kind of plan ahead. If you got people on an annual or a monthly, you're kind of locking in early revenue. So this, again, is a really great mechanism for monetizing users. And again, you can use it in conjunction with advertising. Basically, if you can throw ads up there, and if people want to get rid of the ads, then they subscribe and no more ads. And that works for a variety of different apps. And then in terms of optimizing subscriptions, so getting your subscription up is kind of step one, and then there's a variety of steps following that to sort of optimize your price point to find that maximum number of users versus revenue. In some cases, it makes sense to charge a little bit more and have fewer subscribers than it does to charge less with more subscribers. But you have to kind of keep sort of A/B testing to find out the optimum revenue. And of course, critical to this, if you have competitors offering similar products, you really have to be monitoring those competitors and setting your prices in line, because people do comparison shop. And if there's 3 sleep apps or 3 whatever kind of apps, and your price point is way out of line with everybody else, you're going to find your conversion rates dropping because they're turning to your competitors for similar content or similar features at a lower price. And part of, I think, a successful subscription policy is to allow people some kind of free trial to start. Usually 7 days is enough. Though I have worked with customers where like the life cycle of their product is such they really need to give users 2 weeks, or in some cases even a month, because of how the app is used. Otherwise, they won't really have a good representative initial trial period. But for most apps, I think 7 days is a good length, and that allows them. You capture the purchase up front, but they have the confidence that if after they purchase it they don't like it, they can cancel during that trial period. So that's a really critical component, I think, of subscription models, is to have that trial period. And then, there's lots of different ways, again, as many ways under the sun as you can invent to present your purchase price and your discount. I've seen more and more kind of gamified ways to present discounts. I don't know if you are familiar with the app Temu, but a lot of people are adopting what I call Temu style promotions with, roulette wheels, timers, like you name it, lots of different incentives that are inviting people to, quote unquote, seize that opportunity while they still can. So you want to, again, try to experiment with these as much as possible. And again, there are platforms out there that will help you manage these promotions, manage, different price points, manage A/B testing in your shopping cart so that you can optimize your subscriptions. And then a lot of people I'm noticing will offer one set of prices as your initial gate. So you'll have your payment wall, and it'll mention a bunch of price points with discounts for like longer term. The minute you click out of that, it throws up another screen. Well, what if I gave you another 50% off? And this used to be done, and I guess it's still done on e-commerce shopping carts. If you don't buy something in an e-commerce shopping cart, you may go to your email later that day or the next day, and there'll be that same product at 25 or 30% off. I mean, sometimes now I actually don't even buy the product knowing I'm going to get a discount if I just wait. But you can kind of carry those same sort of strategies into your mobile app subscription. And if people, reject your initial offer, you've got nothing to lose by throwing up a lower price point to try to capture some value from that user. So as you think about monetizing your app, there's different levers you can use for improving you got to their retention rate, whether they're subscribing weekly or monthly or doing some kind of pay-as-you-go model. The longer you can retain that user, the more revenue you're going to get from that user, adding to your lifetime value or LTV for that person. And then obviously you got to be looking very closely at what is your upgrade rate, like how effectively are you channeling people from that free experience to the premium, assuming you have a free experience, which again, I suggest everybody have some kind of free experience rather than trying to charge people out of the gate, because I think you'll just have better results. And there are probably some unique cases where you don't need to do that, but most apps need to provide some kind of teaser experience before they get people to pay for it. And then you back out of again, looking at your install rate. The more people that you have installing the app, the more people are going to be farther down the funnel to actually make a purchase. So those are some of the key levers that you can look at improving to improve monetization. So here's another strategy. Again, it's not a super common one, but I have worked for a couple of different apps that use the data monetization. Obviously, a lot of websites do this and other types of products, but data is super valuable to a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. And again, you have to be concerned about privacy and aggregating this data in a non-personally identifiable way. But there are potentially ways that you can collect user data, analyze that, parse it, and then sell that to people. It's very valuable to advertisers. So basically, when your app is ad supported, the ad platform is typically collecting data on your customer, and it may be as basic as they know what category of app you're in, so that they can target other ads to people who are interested in that category of apps. But they can also potentially, if you've collected the gender of your users or the age of your users, or you can infer age by the types of activities or the types of apps. So a lot of data is already being collected, say, through advertisers. But if you can collect some of that on your own, and I know a lot of media companies do this. So most big, the New York Times and Wall Street Journal and USA Today, these big publications, a lot of the health sites, they're all segmenting their users and allowing advertisers to target ads at people interested in, with a specific demographic background or interested in specific topics or products. That'll increase the value of your data that would be used for advertising. And then you can also just, in some cases, sell this aggregated data. I was talking earlier about this remote control app that I was managing growth for, and we had a lot of data globally about what TV shows people were watching, when they were watching, how they were watching. Could also infer what commercials they were seeing by watching those shows. I mean, there's all kinds of different things, we could collect. We were able to tell people's political affiliation by what they were watching, because there's like a correlation to what shows you watch and whether you're a red state or blue state person. So anyway, you can be creative about this, but if you have a large enough audience, there's potentially a way you can monetize through your data. So another mechanism for monetization, and again, this has worked for a variety of different apps I've worked for, where you offer some kind of experience. You're not charging a subscription. You're really going for a large user base for a great product, and you're monetizing through ancillary forms of revenue. So it's often these are affiliate relationships. So you can, in this case, it's a travel app partner we have. And the way they've decided to monetize is through, selling travel experiences, packages. So they're aggregating this travel audience, and then they're working with partners to connect with those through some kind of affiliate relationships. And again, that can be a super effective if you've got a high value, narrow audience with a specific interest. We did something similar with a car buying app I worked for. They weren't monetizing on the purchase of the app. So they offered this experience. They weren't giving kickbacks to the dealers, so the user could be assured that they were neutral in terms of what cars they were recommending. But once they'd aggregated this car buying audience, they were able to sell them improved deals on auto loans, or insurance programs, all kinds of different things that they could monetize through. And then I just thought I'd throw in a few, again, just, you have to be as creative as possible to try to monetize, when you have a mobile app, depending upon what stage you are, what kind of app you have, what your competition is doing. But I've actually done most of these myself at one time or another with a different app. So I know they're effective, but again, they're not the common things that people think about. But if you have an app that's sort of social mission, has a social mission where people maybe are willing to donate to it for the experience and kind of help support you, it's sort of the Kickstarter approach. Maybe people like what you're doing enough that they'll just agree to give you a one-time donation or a donation as a subscription. We did that actually with a text-to-image app for a while, and I did that with a college savings app. People just appreciated what we were doing, so we were able to kind of collect more of a donation type fee. And a pay what you can is kind of similar, where you have a voluntary sliding scale. This is a little bit of a double-edged sword, because most people will want to just take advantage of you and not pay anything. But I have done models where people who really like the app, and it's kind of more like the open source software model, and people will support you because they believe in what you're doing, and just do like a pay what you can model. I did have one app where I actually cloned the app. This was a personal app I had, and I was able to sell kind of a white label or sponsored version to different brands. I sold it to a major like coffee chain. I sold it to a car company. So I took that same app, which was an interesting app, and did a white label version where they put their own brand on it. We distribute it separately, but I was able to fund my other app development through that sponsorship. Again, a little odd way of doing things, but you can get maybe a more limited way would be to get a sponsor support a given feature in your app or section of your app. Obviously, you see that with like advertising on the Olympics. There'll be, the event of the day will be, brought to you by, Starbucks or whatever. So you can kind of take a similar approach in your app, especially if it's a cutting edge enough app where you've got kind of a unique audience or early adopter audience. And then increasingly, I'm seeing as another option these pay-as-you-go models where you're not buying a subscription per se, but you might be buying credits that you can use. So this is particularly useful for apps where you don't have a fixed cost of delivering your experience. So most apps, you build it and there's kind of minimal server costs, and every incremental user doesn't really cost you anything. So you can kind of offer one subscription price for everybody, no matter how much they use it, because it's not really affecting the cost of delivering that experience. But with something like AI, so probably less so text AI, but image AI or video AI is very expensive to deliver. So what a lot of the companies are doing is you basically buy enough credits to buy like a fixed amount of the use of the app. And then once you've used that app, then you have to buy more, because there's a cost to the app developer of presenting that content or experience or feature to you. So you want to make sure that your costs are integrated with how you're pricing that experience for the end user. It can be like a one-time, you buy in bulk, or you can set up a subscription where each month they're delivered a certain number of credits or tokens, and you can buy different levels of that. There's lots of different ways of doing it, but I'm seeing it more and more as an alternative to, say, a straightforward subscription or advertising type supported app. All right. Well, that's it from my monetization strategies. Did you have anything else, Nick, you wanted me to?
James, that was great stuff. You covered just about everything, and any question I had, you literally would cover it right away. So, guys, that wraps up our CRO module. Be sure to take advantage of our resources in the course notes. Follow along, find the checklist, tool recommendations, and everything related to conversion rate optimization for your app. If you have any questions, we'll include a link to schedule a call with me or James in the course notes as well to get you moving in the right direction with your app. So thank you all for joining us today. We'll see you in the next module.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.